Amelia was in her room, surrounded by a pile of clothes that no longer fit her. The sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating the space, but it couldn't warm her heart, which felt as heavy as her image reflected in the mirror. She held a red dress, one she had always dreamed of wearing to a party. It was a piece that accentuated every curve, a promise of glamour that now seemed distant. With a deep sigh, she began to dress, struggling to zip up the stubborn zipper that refused to cooperate. "Amelia, are you really going to the party?" Megan's voice, her best friend, echoed from the other side of the door. Megan had always been her support, but today she seemed anxious. "Are you ready? Can I help you?" "No, I'm not going," Amelia replied, frustration evident in her voice. "I can even zip this dress. Look at how it fits me." She turned around, showing the desperate scene that was her reflection. The dress, which was supposed to be a piece of empowerment, only highlighted her insecurities. "Amelia, you're beautiful just the way you are. Don't let this get to you." Megan tried to comfort her, but Amelia just shook her head, feeling invisible. "But I'm not like the other girls. They're so happy, so confident," Amelia murmured, feeling the tears threatening to slip down her cheeks. "Why can't I be like that?" Megan entered the room, her gaze full of concern. "You don't need to compare yourself to anyone. Let's find something that makes you feel good. You don't have to fit into a mold to be beautiful." Amelia looked at her friend, but the idea of going to the party, where other women shined in their tight dresses and radiant smiles, felt unbearable. "I can't, Megan. It's like I'm a fish out of water. I'd rather stay home." Megan sighed, understanding her friend's internal struggle. "It's okay if you decide not to go, but know that I'll always be here supporting you." Amelia sat on the bed, her eyes fixed on the floor. The dress, now thrown in the corner, seemed to symbolize her shattered hopes. "I just wanted to feel beautiful, like you," she confessed. "You are beautiful, Amelia. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise," Megan insisted. "You are more than a number on a scale or a piece of clothing that doesn't fit. You have an incredible heart and a strong spirit." After that conversation, Amelia decided she wouldn't go to the party. The feeling of failure enveloped her like a heavy fog, and she locked herself in her room. The hours passed, and in a moment of solitude, she found herself reliving the difficult times of school. At school, the memories were worse than any tight dress. The cruel jokes, the disdainful looks, everything resurfaced with the force of an overwhelming wave. Derek, her ex-boyfriend, seemed to be the protagonist of every humiliation. He used to make jokes in class, laughing along with his friends while she sat, invisible and ashamed. "Look at Amelia, the only person who can hide behind a desk," he used to say, drawing laughs from everyone. "Do you remember that time you tried out for the cheerleading squad?" He laughed, and his friends followed with loud guffaws. Amelia remembered, and the pain she felt was almost unbearable. The feeling of being invisible, of not belonging anywhere, became her cloak. At home, locked in her room, she felt there was no way out. The door closed to hopes and opened to sorrows. Her mother, noticing the deafening silence, knocked on the door. "Amelia, dear, are you okay? Can I come in?" Amelia didn't answer right away, but her mother's gentle voice pierced through her solitude. "Just a minute, Mom." When the door opened, her mother entered, worry etched on her face. "What happened, my love? You seem so down." Amelia had no words. The tears began to slip down, and she surrendered to the comforting embrace of her mother. I just wanted to be different. I want to be happy, but all of this brings me down," she said between sobs. "Listen, my daughter, you are perfect just the way you are. Beauty comes from within, and I see that in you. We'll find a way to deal with this together, okay?" Amelia nodded, feeling the warmth of her mother's love. The connection was a thread that kept her together amidst the despair. But in her heart, the flames of defiance began to grow. It was time to change, to seek something more than just acceptance. It was time for transformation. Amelia stepped into the support group room, feeling a mixture of nervousness and hope. The walls were decorated with colorful posters that exuded encouraging phrases like, "You are more than your appearance. and love yourself just the way you are. She looked around and saw several women, each with their own stories and struggles. Some seemed as vulnerable as she felt, while others exuded a confidence that Amelia had yet to find. She settled into a chair in the corner, observing the interactions around her. A facilitator, a middle-aged woman with a warm smile, began the meeting. Welcome everyone. Today, we're going to share our experiences and the battles we face with body image. Remember, this is a safe space. Amelia felt her heart race. The voices around her began to blend into a soft, comforting hum. An older woman started talking about how society made her feel invisible, and Amelia instantly identified with her. I've always felt like people didn't see me, like my weight made me invisible, the woman said, her eyes shining with restrained tears. Me too, Amelia murmured, almost without realizing it. The woman looked at her with a gentle smile. It was comforting to know she wasn't alone in this struggle. Throughout the session, Amelia listened to stories of pain, resilience, and, in some cases, ongoing struggles. When it was her turn to speak, she hesitated. I was humiliated by an ex-boyfriend, she began, her voice trembling. Derek made me feel small, as if my worth depended on my body. For a long time, I believed I was worthless. You are so much more than that, the facilitator interrupted, and the other women nodded, encouraging her to continue. Your journey is valid and important. Amelia took a deep breath, feeling a warmth in her cheeks. I've decided to change my life, not just for myself, but also to help other women who are going through this. I want them to know they can rise up and fight, just like I'm trying to do. After the meeting, as the participants dispersed, Amelia approached a young woman who had caught her attention. Laura, a girl with brown hair and bright eyes, was sitting alone, looking thoughtful. Amelia decided to introduce herself. Hi, I'm Amelia. May I join you? Laura smiled shyly. Sure, I'm Laura. This was my first time here, and wow, it was intense. Mine too. It's good to know we're not alone, isn't it? Amelia replied, feeling an instant connection. They began to share their stories and soon discovered that, despite their differences, they had a lot in common. I've always struggled with my self-image, Laura confessed, her eyes lighting up as she spoke. In school, I was called too skinny. It's strange, isn't it? The pressure comes from all sides. Amelia nodded, realizing how cruel society's standards could be. Yes, and it seems like we're never good enough, she said, but I think here we can support each other. The two started meeting up after the meetings, developing a strong friendship. They became confidants, exchanging tips on self-esteem and encouragement, and Amelia felt stronger alongside Laura, who inspired her not to give up. During one of these conversations, Amelia had an epiphany. You know, I think I'm ready to truly change my life. I want to start a workout routine and eat better. Laura smiled, excited. That's amazing. I'm here to support you. Let's do this together. However, in a moment of weakness, as Amelia looked at herself in the mirror after a tiring day, memories of past humiliations began to resurface. She remembered Derek, his cruel comments, and how he made her feel. Doubt started to creep into her mind. What if I can't do it? What if I fail again? She sat on the floor, frustration building in her chest. Amelia needed to find a way, but the shadow of her past still haunted her, making the journey more challenging. Amid this internal battle, the image of Laura came to mind, along with the reminder that change doesn't have to be made alone. With renewed determination, Amelia decided she wouldn't give up. Amelia was determined to stick to her transformation plan. Mornings now began with the alarm ringing insistently, and she got up with a mixture of anxiety and hope. Looking at herself in the mirror, she observed every inch of her body with a different gaze, more critical but also more loving. Each day, the image reflected back at her seemed a little closer to the one she wanted to be. As she prepared for her workout, her mind was filled with memories from the past that still haunted her. Derek's cruel laughter and disdainful looks echoed in her head, but Amelia was determined not to let those memories bring her down. At the park, Amelia joined a group of women who shared their experiences. The sun shone brightly, and the smell of fresh grass made her feel alive. "Come on, ladies, today is a day for overcoming challenges," shouted one of the instructors, motivating everyone to move. Amelia started running, her heart racing, not just from the physical activity, but also from the adrenaline of feeling part of something bigger. Around her, laughter and words of encouragement surrounded her. "You can do it, Amelia. One step at a time," said Megan, always by her side. However, not everything was rosy. Despite the progress, Amelia faced emotional ups and downs. One day, after a particularly tough workout, she sat on the floor of her apartment, tears streaming down her face. The thought that all the effort might be in vain consumed her. "Why do I still feel like this?" she whispered to herself, frustration overflowing. The memories of humiliation, though distant, seemed more present than ever. "You are stronger than this," she tried to convince herself, but the internal battle was constant. On one of those dark days, as she prepared for another workout session, Amelia nearly fainted. She felt weak, her vision blurry. No, this can't be happening," she thought, leaning against the wall to avoid falling. Fear gripped her, and she realized that her restrictive diet was affecting her health. "It's not just about losing weight, it's about being healthy," she murmured, feeling confused and scared. After this episode, Amelia decided it was time to seek professional help. "I need a nutritionist," she stated to Megan, who looked at her with concern. "You're not alone, Jess. We'll go together." The two scheduled an appointment with a specialist who would guide them on healthy and balanced eating. In the office, the nutritionist, a calm and attentive woman, began to explain the importance of nourishing the body. "The goal is to find balance. It's not just about numbers on the scale, but about how you feel," she said, looking directly into Amelia's eyes. Amelia listened carefully, absorbing every word. "You need to learn to eat in a way that makes your body grateful. We'll work on a plan that works for you," continued the nutritionist, and Amelia felt a sense of relief. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, she felt hopeful. "I can really do this," she thought, a shy smile forming on her lips. In the following weeks, Amelia started cooking, experimenting with new recipes suggested by the nutritionist. She enjoyed herself in the kitchen, mixing flavors and textures, and each dish she prepared became a small victory. "Look, I'm doing better than I thought," she exclaimed excitedly, showing off a colorful dish to Megan. "This looks amazing, Jess. I'm so proud of you," her friend replied, sharing in the joy of the moment. Amelia was beginning to understand that the transformation wasn't just physical. It was a journey involving body, mind, and spirit. And as time passed, she felt stronger, not only to face the challenges of her transformation, but also to deal with the shadows of the past that still insisted on haunting her. The road was long and full of challenges, but for the first time, Amelia was willing to walk it with courage and determination. Amelia looked at herself in the mirror, admiring the new silhouette that was beginning to form. The outfit she wore, a fitted blouse and a long skirt, highlighted her curves in a way that would have made her insecure before. Now, she felt a mix of pride and determination. The confidence she had gained was not just physical, it was an inner certainty, the result of months of struggle and self-acceptance. That morning, she was about to attend a women's empowerment event where she would share her story and inspire other women. With her heart racing, Amelia prepared for the presentation. Megan, her best friend, watched her with an encouraging smile. However, Megan's gaze also carried a hint of concern. Approaching Amelia, she said, a bit hesitantly, "Jess, you look amazing, but have you been thinking a lot about your revenge against Derek? I just want you to remember what really matters." Amelia turned to Megan, her expression serious. "I know you're worried, but you don't understand. He made me feel so small. I need him to feel a bit of what I felt." Megan sighed, shaking her head. "I understand, but I don't want this to consume you. What you're doing is incredible, and you have a bright future ahead of you. Don't let the past hold you back." Amelia smiled, But the seed of doubt that Megan planted in her mind began to grow. What did it really mean to overcome her past? She was about to become the woman she had always wanted to be, but the idea of getting revenge on Derek still consumed her. At the event, the room was filled with women, all eager to hear stories of overcoming challenges. When it was her turn, Amelia's heart pounded. She stepped onto the stage, taking a deep breath before beginning. The audience was attentive, and she felt a wave of empowerment as she looked at those faces that encouraged her. "Hello, my name is Amelia, and I'm here to share my journey," she began, her voice firm and clear. "For a long time, I felt invisible, as if my life didn't matter. I was the target of humiliation, especially from people who were supposed to support me. My ex-boyfriend, Derek, was one of the biggest culprits. He made me believe that I wasn't worthy of love or respect." She paused, observing the audience's reactions. She saw some women nodding, others wiping away tears. Amelia continued, now more confident. "But one day, I decided that this had to change. I didn't want to be the victim anymore. I started working on myself, not just on my body, but on my mind and spirit. And along this path, I realized that true strength doesn't come from revenge, but from compassion and mutual support." The room erupted in applause. Amelia felt a wave of gratitude. Deep down, she knew that the fight against Derek wasn't the answer. Looking at the women around her, she realized that her true mission was to help others find their strength. Later, as she was talking to some participants of the event, Amelia was approached by a young woman named Laura, who seemed lost in her thoughts. Laura looked at Amelia with a mix of admiration and insecurity. "You were incredible up there," Laura said, her eyes shining. "I've always wanted to be like you, but I never had the courage." Amelia smiled, remembering how she had also felt before. "You're already incredible, Laura. Courage comes from within, and we all have a bit of it. The important thing is to believe in yourself and find your purpose." Laura nodded, seeming inspired. "I've been struggling with my own image, and hearing your story made me realize that I'm not alone." "You're never alone," Amelia replied, placing a comforting hand on the young woman's shoulder. "Together, we can overcome this." As they talked, Amelia felt her determination grow stronger. She was at a turning point. The idea of getting revenge on Derek seemed more distant. The true victory was in connecting with other women and helping them rise. But at the same time, the shadow of Derek still hovered over her thoughts. The desire to confront him hadn't disappeared. She knew she would need to deal with it at some point, but she didn't want it to overshadow the light she had found in her new life. The internal battle between revenge and compassion continued, and Amelia was about to discover that some battles weren't just external, but internal. Amelia was radiant. The transformation she had undergone in recent months was remarkable, not just in her body, but also in her attitude. As she entered the cafe where she used to meet with her friends, she felt the admiring and surprised looks of those who knew her. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and lively conversations, but Amelia's heart pounded with a mix of anxiety and determination. She knew Derek would be there, and that made her nervous. But now, the confidence she had gained pushed her to move forward. "Amelia, you look amazing," Megan exclaimed as she spotted her friend. She approached, hugging her tightly. "It's so good to see you like this. How do you feel?" "I feel free, Megan. Free to be who I really am," Amelia replied, a broad smile lighting up her face. She was determined not to let the ghosts of the past haunt her again. As they talked, Amelia spotted Derek at a nearby table, laughing and chatting with a new girlfriend, a slim and attractive woman. The scene hit her like a punch in the stomach. A wave of anger and pain surged, but instead of giving in, she took a deep breath and turned to Megan. "I think it's time to act." "Are you sure about this?" Megan asked, concern written all over her face. "This might not end well." "I know, but I can't live in fear of him anymore. I need to show that I'm not the same person I was before," Amelia replied, the determination in her voice echoing like a mantra. She wasn't just seeking revenge, she was reclaiming her power. With firm steps, Amelia walked over to Derek's table. As she approached, she noticed that his girlfriend looked at her with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. Derek, realizing Amelia's presence, turned to her, and his smile faded as he recognized his ex-girlfriend. "Amelia, he said, trying to maintain his composure. There was a hint of nervousness in his voice. "Hi, Derek. Long time, isn't it?" Amelia replied, keeping her gaze steady. "You seem to be doing well." He smiled nervously while his girlfriend watched the exchange, clearly intrigued. "Yes, I'm fine. And you? You look different." "I've changed a lot. I've learned to value myself more and to fight for my goals," Amelia responded, feeling the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Oh, and speaking of changes, I heard you're in a new relationship. I hope you treat this girl better than you treated me." Derek opened his mouth to protest, but Amelia didn't give him the chance. "You know, I really thought you might have changed, but it seems you're still the same person, making jokes at others' expense to feel good." Derek's girlfriend frowned, and Amelia realized that the seed of doubt had been planted. Derek, trying to regain control of the situation, said, "That was a long time ago, Amelia. I've already apologized for that." "Apologies don't erase the past, Derek, but I'm here to show that what you did no longer defines me. I'm not the girl you humiliated anymore. I'm much stronger now." Amelia felt the power of her words as she spoke them. She stepped back a little, giving Derek's girlfriend space to realize the truth. Her expression changed from curiosity to concern. "Derek, you humiliated her?" she asked, clearly affected by the revelation. Amelia didn't want her revenge to be just a matter of words. She wanted Derek to feel, even just a little, the weight of his actions. With a compassionate look, she said, "But I'm not here to fuel hatred. I'm here to set myself free. You can go on your way, but know that I'm standing and I don't intend to fall again." As she walked away, Amelia felt light. With her head held high, she joined Laura, who was waiting for her at a nearby table. "You were amazing, Jess," Laura exclaimed, her eyes shining with admiration. "You really made him feel what he did to you." "Thank you, Laura. But it's not just about revenge. It's about showing that I'm stronger than his cruel words," Amelia replied, reflecting on what she had just experienced. "I want to help other women find that strength too." Laura smiled, and the two friends lost themselves in a conversation about future plans, as a new sense of hope and empowerment began to blossom within Amelia. She knew that the journey was far from over, but now, more than ever, she was ready to face whatever challenges came her way. The day of the event finally arrived, and Amelia was surrounded by an intense mix of nervousness and determination. As she looked at herself in the mirror, adjusting the dress that now fit her perfectly, she couldn't help but think about everything she had been through. The memories of humiliation and pain were still present, but the woman who looked back at her now was a stronger, more confident version of herself. The event would be the perfect opportunity to confront Derek and expose him in front of everyone, just as he had exposed her in the past. "You've got this, Amelia," Megan murmured beside her, trying to convey confidence, but Amelia could see the worry in her eyes. "Just don't forget that you're more than this. You're amazing." Amelia took a deep breath, the adrenaline pulsing through her veins. "I know, but I need to do this. I need him to feel a little of what I felt. What he did was horrible, and I can't just let it go." The determination in her voice was palpable, but a small doubt began to creep into her mind. As she entered the hall, the murmur of the crowd enveloped Amelia like a wave. Looking around, she spotted Derek, chatting animatedly with some people, his arrogant smile intact. He seemed so comfortable, so carefree. Anger bubbled up inside her, but Amelia remembered what she had learned along her journey. True strength wasn't in revenge, but in compassion and overcoming. When it was her turn to speak, the microphone was in front of her, and the room fell silent. Amelia felt the weight of all the gazes, but instead of letting them paralyze her, they propelled her forward. "Thank you all for being here today. I'm here to share not just my story, but also to talk about something I didn't expect: the vulnerability that we all face. She looked directly at Derek, who now seemed a bit more serious. Sometimes, the people who hurt us the most are fighting their own battles, and that doesn't justify what they do, but I've realized that revenge won't bring me peace. The murmurs in the room began to grow, and Amelia saw the look of confusion on Derek's face. He stood up, seemingly wanting to interrupt, but Amelia continued, "I'm a survivor, and I'm not here to destroy anyone. Derek, I know you're in a relationship that seems perfect, but I've seen how you've been. Sometimes, what seems like love can just be a cycle of abuse." Silence settled over the room, and Amelia's words seemed to echo in the space. Derek was visibly uncomfortable, and the expression of shame began to take over his face. "No one should go through what I went through, and if you're struggling, know that you're not alone. I choose compassion over revenge." Her words spread like a balm, and the audience began to applaud. Amelia felt that she had made the right choice, as the anger that consumed her dissipated, giving way to a feeling of liberation. She had not only freed herself from the weight of the past, but also offered an out to Derek, who seemed to have his own internal battle. After the presentation, Amelia approached Laura and the other women who had supported her. "Let's create a space where we can help each other, a support group where compassion and empathy reign. We deserve that." Laura smiled, her eyes shining with approval. "I love that, Jess. Let's build a support network that helps other women find and value themselves." The idea resonated with everyone there, and soon the women began discussing ways to unite and help each other. Amelia felt fulfilled, not just as a survivor, but as a mentor. She had turned her pain into power, not just for herself, but for everyone around her. Meanwhile, Derek, isolated in his corner, watched what Amelia had become. He realized that his past actions had led him to this moment of shame and reflection. The change in Amelia wasn't just a physical transformation. It was a spiritual shift that made him understand that true growth comes from empathy and mutual support. Amelia didn't just seek revenge. She became a beacon of hope and empowerment for other women, showing that true strength lies in coming together and helping others overcome their struggles. The room was filled with new possibilities, and that was the sweetest victory of all. And so we come to the end of today's journey. But remember, every step we take toward our healing and growth is a victory. What we've learned here doesn't end when we turn off the video or leave the room. It's something we carry with us for life. If this story touched you in any way, if you faced struggles or found strength in difficult moments, share it in the comments. Your story might be the encouragement someone needs to keep going. And don't forget, together we are stronger. So if you're not yet part of this community, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and keep walking with us on this journey of overcoming faith and empowerment. May God bless each of you, and see you next time.